Welcome to Keep What You Earn, a show for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to scale and build enterprise value without making costly mistakes. I'm your host, Shannon. I'm a CFO and CPA who left a career serving Fortune 50 companies in Wall Street to help business owners just like you make life-changing wealth with your business. These episodes are meant to be super tactical and actionable, but please remember, consult your own financial professional before you implement anything you learn in this podcast. Now, if you'd be interested in working with us to do so, check out the show notes for more information about our company, Keep What You Earn Co. All right, let's start the show. Hey there, welcome back. I'm so excited today because I get to introduce somebody to you, and her name is Erica. She's been working with us here at Keep What You Earn for just over a month as we're recording this episode, and I wanted to introduce her to you because you'll be hearing some more of her pretty soon. And just give you a quick intro. Erica, we're actually in person together in Las Vegas.
How exciting.
It's super exciting, and I'm just excited to have everyone get to hear you because I know you can share from your experience and ideas and all that. So just give our audience a quick little rundown of who you are and why you're here.
Well, my name's Erica Barrow, and I have a master's degree in forensic accounting. Been doing accounting for what seems like forever. I came on with Keep What You Earn and haven't looked back since.
Well, one thing is I've already kind of, this is how we knew we got along quickly was because I already started making fun of her. When Erica's basically certified in everything, you guys, everything. So
It's true.
yeah. So I call her Erica. I'm certified in that Barrow. But she's accomplished a lot. I think you have such an interesting background, not like a typical accountant, which is why I think we get along. You're actually from the military too.
Yeah, I was a combat medic for the Army for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody who's a combat medic in the Army, if you think your books are bad, she's seen some more shit, okay? She's seen some stuff. I wanted to introduce her to you all, and I want you to tell your side of your version of what we do, because you've been with the company for over a month now, and I'd love your take in your own words on how you would describe what we do and how we serve them.
Honestly, I would say that we boost up our clients. So we help solidify decisions that they're making, help guide them in the right direction without telling them the answer, empower them to be able to make those decisions and feel equipped to do so.
Yeah, but sometimes tell them the answer.
Honestly,
What do you think is the most, we'll say, misunderstood aspect of what a CFO really does? When people hear that title, what do people think that CFO does? And what do you feel like we actually do?
honestly, I would say from my experience, most people view accountants, CFOs, basically anybody that's in that arena as just a cost center rather than somebody that's producing money for the company, which I would say is absolutely false. We chase down money that they think they've already earned. We help cut costs in places. We help look critically at decisions and other things that we're doing. We even help in realms that aren't necessarily our arena and empower the clients to make better decisions.
Yeah. And I think the way I also put it is we cheerlead and challenge, which I think is a unique aspect because a lot of accountants will say, even CFOs will take direction from the client and simply execute on what the client instructs them to do. And they just take that direction versus we kind of come in and say, well, let's challenge that a little bit. Let's poke holes in that logic and let's try to better understand the why behind what they're trying to accomplish. And I think it's a critical eye and critical thinking applied to the accounting, not just doing what we're being told to do.
Right. So given our expertise, we can look at where they're going and help direct how to get there rather than just be a passenger along for the ride. And I honestly think that's where the most value is in those times when they think that they know best, but we can work with them, talk with them, and maybe it's a completely different direction altogether.
Yeah, I think it's getting to the root of what they're asking and why they're asking it. One thing that we try to do our best training clients on is asking the real question, because we'll get questions all the time that are very surface level, right? Like, hey, can I deduct this? Or should I do this type of real estate transaction? Or should I invest in this? Or should I hire this person? When there are really about 10 other questions underneath all of that we need to answer first. And we're not trying to be a pain in the ass, but we're trying to get to the root of whether or not we can answer this question the right way without, just answering the surface level question. We want to know why you're asking it and what's on your mind.
Yeah, and sometimes what they think the question is isn't what we should be talking about at all.
Mhm.
A lot of people, because of how little tax knowledge they have, usually like tax savings is one of their first priorities without worrying first the profit and how we can get that in
Right.
order to be taxed on that
Right. You don't have tax problems until you have,
money.
massive, right. Until you have cash flow, and then you can do that. What do you think makes Keep What You Earn different in terms of how we deal with clients, though, on a day to day basis, from your experience, just like seeing the interactions we have with our business owners? What do you think makes that tick, or what do you think makes us different in that regard?
Hey, Shannon here, and I have a quick favor to ask. If you're enjoying this podcast and enjoying this episode, please leave us a review on your podcast platform, whether that's Apple, Spotify, Amazon, any of them, and let us know if you're enjoying the show. One of your biggest takeaways, we would really, really appreciate it. Okay, back to the show.
I think one big aspect is that we have the freedom to say no sometimes.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're empowered to do that. I feel like we work very closely with our business owners and care about them and want to see them succeed. So we spend a lot of time looking at details, looking at why did they start this business, looking at what are their goals, how can we help them achieve those. And really, it's about making sure that we get them into a place where they have many different options and they don't have to have conviction of just going down one road. They can get down the road and see something else that may look interesting and they can take advantage of that as well.
Yeah, and I think another thing that makes it unique is the collaborative nature, because I see a lot of interaction with business owners and financial professionals where it's transactional, but it's also, we advise you to do this. It's also very mechanical and very legalese, where it's the call it cover your ass language. I feel like we've taken this approach where, while we're conscious of risk, we're also in the interest of being helpful first and being useful and trying to steer them in the right direction, where we don't say no to giving advice that we know is good for them in the interest of, oh, this could get us in trouble if they misapply it.
And at the same time, too, I think another important aspect that we do things differently here is that usually at this level, the accounting departments tend to operate in a silo, right? So there's nobody to question what those people are doing. There's nobody to,
Hold them accountable.
yeah, hold them accountable, but not even just hold them accountable. If you're operating from the belief that everybody is working and doing the best job that they can, with accounting, there's so much gray area and so many different ways to handle it that it's helpful to have a bunch of people that understand the language of accounting and what the goals are, and then be able to talk to one another and come to an even better decision than maybe somebody would have reached just on their own.
I agree. And what do you think is one of the biggest surprises that you've found after? I mean, you've only been here about a month, but I feel
Mhm.
like you dove in really head 1st
Mhm.
and got to know our clients really quickly. You guys, like within a couple of weeks, people were just addressing Erica and not me, and Erica, our CFO, which is amazing, by the way. Do this in your business as quickly as possible. But I'm curious what one of your biggest surprises was in your first month that maybe you didn't expect. And it could be positive or negative.
There's not a lot these days that does surprise me, but I'm constantly surprised usually by the creative ways in which business owners tend to try to apply things that they think they know as far as accounting goes. And so it's always interesting to kind of take a peek behind the curtain and see what they've got going on
Mhm.
in there. Often there's a different way that we can arrange things and help, get their idea across the finish line a lot faster than what they were doing before.
Yeah, I would agree with that, that there's always a surprising approach that's taken or something that's new. But that's kind of what I love about the challenge of this. Is one fear I had in starting Keep What You Earn was okay, now that we unfuck the books, basically, like we fixed the cash flow, we did this. Now what is there left to do? We cleaned up, we cleaned up everything. And now it's done, right? Like it's a constant journey. I feel like finance is a journey, not a destination, because there's always something more to do and there's some new growth or evolution happening.
Well, right. But if you think about it, the main reason, the main why, right, is somebody has a business because they're out to make money.
Right.
And so wouldn't it make sense that most decisions then have something to do with money?
Right.
So then it would follow that you would constantly need a stream of somebody that's financial minded helping with any decision that you move forward with in a business, because usually no matter what it is, somehow it works back to the dollar.
Yeah, and you never stop making decisions because
Right.
growing, you're constantly hitting new challenges, new boulders to climb over, and you're going to need that person in your court to be able to help you with that. And that's one thing that, I think a lot of, we'll say providers, accountants, financial service professionals really kind of fixate on there's some type of destination of compliance or of, dotting all the I's, crossing the T's, and then we're done. But in reality, like we've just begun. Now we have good data, right? Like they think when the data is clean, we're done. And I'm like, no, that's where it starts.
Right. Yeah. I kind of approach things for the most part, looking at it like a puzzle to be solved. And so it's about making sure you have all the pieces and then making sure they fit in the right places and ending up where you want to go.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that speaking of like puzzle pieces too, I think having Erica on the team has been great because we've got new perspective. As the team grows, everyone's looking at it from a different lens. And I think that's a value multiplier because when you have not just me looking at the books and everything, I'm not going anywhere, but you have me looking at the stuff for clients, then what you want to do is have another perspective constantly in being able to see something from a different lens or a blind spot that you don't have or you can't see because they may pick up on something or a little detail. I mean, how many times have you watched a movie with your spouse or friend and they catch a little detail or a little Easter egg or something you don't catch? And instead of you having to watch it 3 times to catch everything, you can watch it 3 of you at the same time and in the same amount of time, catch everything that you need to. And that's how I look at it as, client service and businesses is you have to be able to create those opportunities so that you can grow.
And, extending on that idea, I think that rather than sort of that you would have to watch the same movie 3 times to catch everything, it's just that with somebody with a different perspective, because you may watch the same movie 3 times and still catch all the same stuff.
Right.
But somebody that has different life experience, different business experience will then bring a different spin to the same thing that you guys are watching. And then they may have had a problem in the past that can help, and they've already solved something a long time ago that now this company is faced with, and you can work out a better solution.
Yeah, it brings a whole new lens through us. They're looking at it and they catch all different things. And that's a really fun part of it too, is the conversations Erica and I have, which I want to share with you on the show. A lot of the conversations we have are very collaborative because it's a lot of, well, what about this? And what about that? And it's kind of this concept of the iron sharpens iron because I respect Erica a lot in her career and she's very well experienced. And coming into this, I knew that she was going to challenge me to think differently on how I do work. And I have. But also, it's bringing her into an environment too where it might be something new she hasn't been exposed to. That's kind of the fun of it, though. I think that's when you have somebody who's looking for that growth. My goal is to provide an environment where that can be fostered and it can flourish versus being stifled or being contained.
Exactly. And that's, I think, another thing that sets Keep What You Earned apart from other businesses is that you are very invested in each and everybody that works here from the bottom to the top, and that we're very goal centric. So not only are we working on clients' goals, but we're also working at and achieving personal goals as well. And the, Erica and Shannon that you meet today is not going to be the Erica and Shannon that you meet 3 months from now, because we are fostering a constant learning place and a constant evolution.
Yeah.
And we're always trying to strive to get better, and we're never settle.
Yeah. It's this weird feeling of constantly climbing. And obviously we have to regulate that with a little bit of like, take a break, look at the view, enjoy where you are. But I think that with the growth rate we've experienced in the last few years, and I expect it to continue, it's what's demanded of us. But it's actually really fun to be around other high performers who also crave that energy and just have that same kind of motivation to succeed. So I'm really excited about the next chapter for Keep What You Earn. I'm also really excited about the podcast gaining an extra voice that you're going to be hearing more frequently. And we'll get Erica some podcast chops pretty soon.
We'll see about that.
All right. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Okay, so if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know I love talking about profit and cash flow. But if you've mastered these things, the next level thing to be focused on is your customer value. If you have to constantly hustle to sell more and hit your revenue goals, it's important to think about how you can deliver more value, build retention, and maximize the lifetime profitability of every customer. When you invest in a power session, we're able to dive into your customer acquisition cost and determine some personalized strategies to decrease your costs and increase the lifetime value of your customers. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.